Welcome back to Houston Real Estate Radio. My name is Matt Register. I'm filling in for Shannon Register, and we have a great segment for you right now. We have Nathan Roach, CEO and founder of Mass Ventures, that really has a very exciting business model and a new business that we wanted to make sure that you knew about. Welcome to the show, Nathan.
Thank you.
So tell me about your company, Mass Ventures. I know a little bit about it. I'm very familiar with the business model, and this is something that's taken a lot of effort and time. Tell me, what does your company do?
Sure. At the base, we're investment crowdfunding. So it gives people a chance to actually own projects in their community for a relatively small amount of money. I mean, as you probably know, typically when you get started investing in real estate, you're looking at writing checks of $25,000, $55,000 and up.
Sure.
Now with Mass Venture, you can invest in real estate in your community for as little as $500.
Well, and I tell you what, there's a couple of things about this that I really love. And as an investment banker, this, and knowing all the regulations and rules and laws that apply anytime you have investment involved, there's a couple of very nice things that happen with this company. Why don't you, most namely being the ability for non-accredited investors to get involved in these kind of projects without the hundreds of thousands of dollars of legal work required to pull that off. Tell us a little bit about that. Right.
When we got started with this, one of the things that frustrated me is that Americans have about $1.6 trillion annually that is put into investment accounts and put into the investment market. But the regulations were set up in a way that really could only go into publicly traded companies. If you wanted to invest in a business or real estate in your community, there was no way to do that. And unfortunately, it's because of these government regulations at the securities level that prevented that.
Sure. And I'm going to say that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, the laws are set up to protect grandma and her pension from predatory investment people.
Right.
And that's probably a good thing that they're there, but it does cause that side effect is that it's very hard for a private investor to invest in a private entity.
Right. I mean, all of this stems from the Securities Act of 1932. So it goes back to Depression era structure. But as you know, sometimes when the government gets involved in something, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger over time. And by the time you're done, it doesn't look anything like it did in the beginning, right? And so we wound up in this situation where, yes, you want to have some controls in there to keep people from, clearly running, like you said, running off with people's savings and things like that. But what wound up happening is over the years, you wound up in a situation where in order to take money from the public, from an investment, even if those people are all people that you knew, they had to be an accredited investor, which under today's definition is having $1 million in net worth, excluding your primary residence.
Sure.
So, I mean, even if you're a well-to-do lawyer, doctor, you have a really nice house, a lot of your net worth is tied up in your residence. And if you don't have that aside, or you meet some other qualifications on having a trust or, certain annual income, you were really precluded from this market. And so we sat down and we said, look, this does not make sense. This does not make logical sense. And it started for me as a passion project. I went to our local representative who was on the House Investment Committee and said, look, we want to try to drive local investment. We want to try to drive local business. Can we get this fixed? And to my great pleasure and surprise, he said, yes, you guys have a well thought out plan. I like what you have in front of us, and let's take it to the governor's office and see what they have to say. All right. And so we wound up getting the right introductions there, and our rep was a Democrat, and the governor's office was run by Perry at the time. So we had this weird kind of perfect storm where you have the Republicans saying, we like this, it's small business, it's job growth. You had the Democrats saying this is a way to let the general public and more people into what was a closed market.
Sure.
And then we were put in touch with the Securities Board to work with them on rules for this. And so what started off as just sort of my attempt to maybe fix something that I didn't think was working well turned into new regulations that passed unanimously through the Securities Board in Texas in November of 2014.
That's incredible. I tell you what, I promise you, I do not have the patience to pick through the bureaucracy and to make something like that happen. But between you and your team, I know RC, your attorney, real well. That's incredible. I love it. That's, when we first started talking to you and first noticed your company, we were blown away that these guys actually made this happen. It makes perfect sense, but the ability to get that passed through, all the bureaucracy, I would have never bet on somebody being able to do that. That's great.
He and I did have an unfair advantage. Both of us were partners in a law practice at the time, and RC, as you know, is very well connected in Austin and throughout the state. He does a lot of speaking and a lot of engagements, and so he was able to talk to people and say, what is the right way to do this? You hear, for example, about Uber and Lyft and some of these ride-sharing services, right, that will come into a market and say, we don't care what the rules are.
Yeah, we're just coming in.
We're going to ignore them, and hopefully those rules will change. And so, coming from the legal perspective, we said, well, maybe we should look at putting something in place first and then launch it. And so we went about it the other direction. And I think one of the nice things about doing it that way is we have something where the state is very much supportive of this. They're very much on board. And every listing that goes out on MassVenture or any regulated Texas crowdfunding portal has to be filed with the state securities board. Okay. So before a listing ever goes up, it goes to the state securities board. They have a copy of all the disclosure documents. They have a copy of all the details for that project. And so if there is a red flag, they have the ability to come back to us and say,
this is problematic. Get that fixed.
You need to fix that.
Wow. Okay. Well, awesome. Well, so talk to me about some of the projects you guys already have.
Sure. We have a bunch of them that are launching in August and September. Mm-hmm. And so we have everything from house flips to one of the concepts is called macro housing. So they're basically building a communal living facility in, I think that one's going to be in downtown Austin.
Of course it's Austin.
And then we have things like apartments, multifamily.
Okay.
Right? And so it really runs the gamut. If you want to see residential development, if you want to see neighborhoods refurbed and rehabbed and improved, then there's a project for you for that. If you want to see multifamily because you like the aspect of recurring cash flow that typically comes with a multifamily project, mm-hmm. then we have something for you in there. And if you want an Austin-based project,
a commune in Austin, right?
Then we've got that for you too. So
that's wonderful. So and your website, massventure.com,
right? Massventure.com
is where consumers would go to look for projects to invest in, also where developers would go to take a look at possibly listing their project.
Exactly. So you can sign up. Some of those rules that we put together with the state require that when you come in, that we verify your identity to make sure that you are who you say you are. Mm-hmm. And then we have a real simple process where you can link up a bank account. It's ACH, so it's just a straight direct deposit type transaction.
Sure.
And so it's really easy to link that bank account, and then you can make an investment through it. And then when you make that investment, when it comes time for those returns, they flow right back through that same connection.
And what is your average investment size? What is your minimum, I guess, on the website?
Yeah, for the most part, it's $500 is the minimum investment. And by law, anybody in Texas, any resident, can invest up to $5,000 per project.
Great. Well, Nathan Roach, MassVenture.com, MassVenture, singular.com. Yes. Thanks for coming on the show. Real quick, is there a phone number or anything else you want, or the website is where you want?
No, the website's got it. It's everything in there. We've got several hundred investors in the Houston area, greater Houston area, that have already signed up, but we're looking for developers too. We're looking for people that have something that they want to see become a reality, and we want to help.
Great, and we want to help as well. Great, congratulations on the successful startup.
Thank you.
Great concept, great business model. We love it. Gets a lot of people involved in real estate investing.
And it's a safe way to get started.
And a safe way to get started. We will be right back after these words from our sponsors. answers. Nathan, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
RREA Media has an exciting new product available to companies and organizations who are teaching classes and want to offer those classes online. Introducing Easy Distance Learning. Easy Distance Learning is a video-based distance learning system that allows companies and organizations to leverage their existing classroom content into a broader reach and increased revenues. Did you know that the rate of growth of distance learning is 10 times that of classroom education? And 66% of chief academic officers think distance learning is critical to their long-term strategy. Right now, 33% of higher education students are taking at least one online class. Companies and organizations not offering a distance alternative to in-class instruction risk being left behind. Video-based distance learning has three basic components: classroom capture, post-production, and content distribution. Easy Distance Learning is a comprehensive and modular system that covers all three components that can help your organization with what you are missing in offering a quality and convenient online learning experience. You choose the parts you need help with. Easy Distance Learning offers another revenue stream, a broader reach of your existing content, and a professional presentation with a great learner experience. Contact us today for a free estimate and see how Easy Distance Learning can take your company or organization to the next level.